The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
I promise you, I'm in a really good mood this morning. I mean, it's Friday. The young phenom is performing in Moana. So we're gonna go to that tonight. The lucky lady and I, and he's got some speaking parts and singing and dancing and carrying a tune. So I think he's pumped up about that. So we'll see if he can kind of capture the stage tonight, which I think he can. So kind of excited about that, and just the weekend in general, just kind of hanging out. But I've got something else I'm Billy bitter about this morning. I'm really bitter about this. Really bitter about this. Because this story broke yesterday, and this is one of those things where I think I would just prefer they not play. Okay? I think that's where I am on this.
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
I think
I'm following.
I think that's where I am because, it was all set. It was all set to have an awesome Thanksgiving weekend with, Thanksgiving and the feast that it is and all that kind of stuff. Getting everybody together, having everybody in, blah, 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 blah. And then you were gonna play Texas A&M at home on Friday night and then host West Virginia Saturday. It would be a super sports weekend, right? And the Aggies decided that they wanted to go, and I get it. I get it. Even though they'd kind of already had an agreement, already had a contract, already said, hey, I'm going to do this. But then they became kind of hey, about further review, something suddenly came up, And they decided that they were going to take place in an NIL-driven event called the Players Era Festival, which is coincidentally in Las Vegas. And basically they said, no, we're not coming to Lubbock. And so now these two teams, why, I don't know why, have decided they're going to play a neutral site game on December the 8th, apparently, according to John Rothstein. He reported this yesterday. This will be at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth on December the 8th. That'll be part of a quadruple header featuring one other men's game and two, quote, high-profile women's games. This will be on December the 8th. I am ticked about this because it would have been awesome. I get that everybody's got to figure out how to fund their players. I get that. This is the new era that we're in. Okay, you got to salute and move on that. But I would have loved for them to have been able to figure out, is our arena not available on December the 8th? I'm pretty sure that it is. I'm pretty sure that we could have found a spot. Could have found a time. Is the airport closed? I'm pretty sure that Lubbock Aero can land a plane over there, fuel that Aggie jet up, and get them in the hell out of here. Get them in, get them out. I'm sure that there's plenty of hotel rooms. It's not like the Hallmark Christmas festivals coming to Lubbock and they're going to, decorate the town, and that every room's going to be booked. It's not like every restaurant is, I'm sorry, Aggies, park's closed. It's full. We should say, screw them. If they can't come here, but this is probably one of those deals where it's good for us too, from an NIL standpoint, or good for the athletic department, the coffers. I just hate when they take these high-profile games. We talked about this yesterday. I hate when they take these high-profile games and they take them to Fort Worth, or they take them to Dallas, or they take them to someplace else. And I get it. It's a business decision. It is. I'm sure that if Texas Tech had its preference, that they would play that game here because they benefit too from a home game. But I'm sure that the bottom line is that when they drew pencil to paper to it, that the ledger said, man, we got to do this.
Yeah, for your tournament resume, it's much better to play Texas A&M.
This is not about tournament resume.
Than to not play.
This is not about tournament resume.
Well, certainly.
Because you got your tournament resume, you could play the Sisters of the Poor every affiliate that they've got, from Oregon to New York, from North Dakota to Padre Island, okay? Yeah. There's a Sisters of the Poor school there that probably plays basketball. You could fill your schedule that Incarnate Word. You play 20 games now in the Big 12. That's your tournament resume right there.
Yeah, and if you go undefeated in the non-con and 11-4 or 11 and
you can go 11 and
16-4 in the Big 12, you're going to get a 3 seed. You have to play non-conference games in the net to get a top seed.
Yeah.
You have to play good games in your non-conference. But you could play any Power 5 game at Dickies Arena, and it would have been the same.
Yeah,
I will say that Thanksgiving weekend, you have to get another Power 5 team in here to combat that. Because that really is a great weekend to have a high-profile basketball game. People are coming in for the football game. People are coming in to see their families. That is not a time to play Northwestern State, Louisiana of the Eastern Seaboard.
How about just Louisiana?
Yeah. Let's play LSU. Let's play something Power 5 in that weekend.
I don't think that can happen because everybody, quote, everybody's schedule's set. I mean, we don't have a release yet of the non-conference basketball schedule. Those are starting to come out. Schools are starting to release it. It's kind of getting piecemealed out.
How about a North Texas? Something like that level.
Jesus.
Something not... Oh, that's still a directional school, but something of that ilk. Yeah, somebody who might make the tournament. Somebody with a pulse.
Yeah. I'm just really disappointed about. I'm just really disappointed. And like I said, I get it. It's like I said, it's probably good. It's probably good for us too. And if I'm over at Texas Tech and I'm trying to figure out how to make all this work, cobble it all together, it's probably a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer like making sure that you've got 7 home games, right? That's a no-brainer now. You're going to have 7 home football games, and I appreciate that. So the days of maybe, unless it's just really, really financially.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It's probably got to be huge in order for you to be able to justify doing that.
Yeah.
To move that. So it's just disappointing. I mean, again, I get it. It's just disappointing. Not being critical. I understand. I'm just disappointed. 6:40 this morning here on the Morning Drive. $6:45 this morning here on the Morning Drive with Rob Breaux and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Time for this day in sports history. Today is July the 12th, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to 1901 is where we will kick things off today, gentlemen, because Cy Young won his 300th baseball game today.
In 1901.
1901.
Wow.
1945, Chicago Cubs beat the Boston Red Sox 6-1. Beat the Boston Braves 6-1.
I was going to say, that's an interleague game there.
To halt the Braves outfielder Tommy Holmes' modern-day record National League hitting streak at 37 games. 1951, New York Yankee pitcher Allie Reynolds throws a no-hitter in Cleveland against the Indians, which just so happened to be his former team, getting a 1-0 win. 1970, British Open. Jack beats Doug Sanders by 1 stroke in the event's first 18-hole playoff to win his second of his 3 Open championships.
Do you think there'll be another golfer, because Tiger's the other guy, Arnold's the guy, that you'll just say Ludwig and everybody will know who he is?
Well, we do around here.
I mean,
right? That's usually how things work.
Worldwide.
It starts here.
Nationally, right.
Starts here and goes forth and conquers the world. That's
from here it's
kind
possible.
of what we've proven with,
right.
Major League Baseball and the NFL and now golf.
Yeah.
We've been doing it in track and field for a while.
NFL, right.
One of the most famous events in history happened today in 1979. Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park. Fans go wild, destroying disco records and causing the White Sox to forfeit their second game of a doubleheader to the Detroit Tigers.
Awesome.
1990, White Sox make up for that apparently as Meldo Perez no-hits the Yankees 8-0 in a rain-shortened 6-inning game at Yankee Stadium.
What year was that?
This was 1990. That would be the 7th no-hitter of the season.
Melito is his name.
Melito?
Yeah.
And in 2015, former Red Raider Chad Bettis gets his 5th win of the year, giving up 3 runs on 6 hits and 6 innings of work in an 11-3 Rockies victory over the Braves. Gentlemen, it is National French Fry Day.
Very awesome. Very awesome. Do you have a preference?
Of the French fry?
Yeah.
In my mouth?
Yeah. I mean, is there a place that is there a pref? Do you like the potato fry? Do you like the potato with it cut and they're fresh cut fries?
Fresh cut fries are awesome. Mm-hmm. Also, the place that probably sells the most of them when they're on point might be the best fry out there.
Right.
But the problem is they're not always on point.
Not always on point.
I'd say there's another place in town that has some curly fries that are very tasty. Mm-hmm. If you're more of the an orange and white fan, those can be very good when they are fresh, but sometimes when they are fresh out of the oil, they aren't quite cooked yet. You can still taste that they're still a little frozen, as the case may be. But there's also a place that's got a redhead that runs it that, on average, I think has the best fries.
Redhead?
Yeah, a redhead.
Okay.
She's got pigtails.
Oh, I'm not a fan of those.
Their average fry is probably better than everybody else's average fry, but their peak is not as good as everybody's peak.
I like the rustic cut. I like a seasoned fry.
Seasoned fry?
Yeah, I like a seasoned fry.
But, I mean, we're talking about French fries here. There's potato fry, go. Mm-hmm. Happy birthday, Brock Lesnar is 47. Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and Furious movies is 46. Topher Grace is 46. Richard Simmons is still sweating to the oldies at 76. And LaShawn McCoy is 36 today.
Is Richard Simmons still kidnapped?
I don't know if he's kidnapped.
He made an appearance the other day.
Oh,
though.
did he? Okay,
so.
good.
I think so.
There's something
getting out of the
going
house.
on there.
He's a weird dude.
Well, yeah.
He's been a weird dude.
He's been a weird dude for quite some
time. A long time.
Yeah.
He's just different.
All right, gentlemen. Picture this. President walking out of the Oval Office, getting ready to board Marine One. Mm-hmm. The helicopter sitting on the White House lawn is such a common scene that I bet all of us can exactly describe what the Sikorsky helicopter looks like right now.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, if not for today, in 1957, Dwight D. Eisenhower becomes the first president to ride the newest advancement in aviation technology, the helicopter. Although experimental military helicopters have been tested since 1947, it was not until 10 years later that a president considered using the new machine for short official trips to and from the White House. Eisenhower suggested the idea to the Secret Service, which approved of the new mode of transportation, seeing it as a safer and more efficient way than the traditional limousine motorcade. The MX-1 Nighthawk squadron put into the presidential service was initially administered jointly by the Army and Marine Corps. However, in 1976, the Marine Corps took over the helicopter operations. And that is this day in sports history.
This day in sports history. All right, just going back to demolition night. They're at Comiskey Park. They're at 35th and Shields on the south side of Chicago. The Loop was the radio station that sponsored it. They were at 97.9, so admission was discounted for that game to 98 cents. The White Sox had expected a crowd of 20,000, which is about 5,000 more than usual. Instead, 50,000 showed up, okay? And many also snuck in after capacity was reached and gates were closed. Many of the records that were supposed to be collected, because it was vinyl, were not collected, and then were thrown like flying discs from the stands. Steve Dahl was the Chicago disc jockey that was behind all of this, and he was a morning guy. They did this in between games of this twilight doubleheader. Okay, so it was a twilight doubleheader, and then they could not play the second game because of all the debris that was on the field.
Hence why it caused the forfeit.
Right. Yeah. The second game was initially postponed, but was later forfeited to the Tigers the next day by order of American League President Lee McPhail. Okay. So there you go. And that was all part of, and one of the promoters of this was Bill Veck's son, Mike Veck. And Bill Veck was famous for his promotions, and so became Mike Veck as well. So that was on this day in 1979. I remember that. It was in between my senior year and freshman year of college. So that was, and there was a fair amount of disco hate at that point in time. Well, it's like everything
the end of the area.
It's like everything else. It's like there's fads in music and things along those lines. And the Loop was a rock station, and they hated disco. And so there you go. That would have been fun to have been there that night. All right, 6:53 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Take your thoughts and comments. Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, or the mobile app. Let's see here. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I'd rather both football and basketball games were on Saturday and early Sunday, family on Thursday and Friday, Tech family on Saturday and Sunday, and drive home after sweeping the weekend. That would be a great weekend. Okay. What coach will have a better season in 2024-2025? Joey McGuire, Grant McCasland, or Tim Tadlock?
I hope at the end of the year we could say Joey McGuire. Just because football is king.
I hope at the end of the year we can't make a decision because they're all so close with national championship trophies.
There you go.
Wow. Or at least making...
No, I hope that's what we're doing this year.
Sure, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I hope we're hosting 4 national championship trophies at the end of this year in our 4 major sports. Anybody who hopes otherwise is not doing things right.
This Chuck Heinz, again, name spelled wrong. This H-I instead of E-I. Tirade, definition, a long, angry speech of criticism or accusation. I don't think it was angry. I mean, there might have been some criticism and some accusation and maybe just some forethought in there. Anyway, just my humble opinion. Remember, not always accurate, not always fair. Just try to be entertaining. That's the theme of this program.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open, kind of all over the board today, so feel free to join into the mix. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too. Somebody wants to know this riveting information. Who tucks their T-shirt in best? Chuck Heinz, Hindes, incorrect spelling, or Jamie Lent, correctly spelled? Have they ever heard of untuck it shirts? I've heard of it. I'm just not an untuck it guy for the most part. For the most part, I tuck in my shirt. I mean, but that's me, man. You do you. It's okay. You do you. You do you. Let me be me. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. Why do we have to be? It's like somebody asked me the other day, when are we going to level the bevel on the double T? Like never. We're never going to do that because they have 2 logos that they can sell.
Yeah.
Right. Do you care one way or the other? Are you a bevel double T guy or a flat double T guy?
In the Under Armour era, I was a huge level the bevel guy because I preferred the throwback uniform. Mm-hmm. But now that they've married the throwback and the bevel, I'm fine with the bevel.
Okay. But you're okay. It's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
I've cooled.
You've cooled.
Yeah, we can grow. We can change.
Yeah. Well, hey, man. I'm sure they'll have a T-shirt for you if you want one that's flat. And I'm sure there's one for you that's one that's 3D, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Golly, we get our panties in a wad so much over stuff. I mean, and I do too. I do too. I mean, there's things that bother me. Like
like A&M playing in Fort Worth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that Bobby Hot Dogs is, continually calling me out on when I declared the Astros dead at 7-17.
Somebody has to.
Sure. But I really appreciate the fact that he uses commas in his text and is grammatically correct. And,
he does have good punctuation.
Yeah, good punctuation and capitalizing and things like that.
Spells your name right.
Chuck.
He went with Chuck. Yeah,
it's hard to misspell.
I bet he could spell Heinz though. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, Kirby Hokut's the athletics director of Texas Tech University. He was on with the fellas the other day from Big 12 Media Days and was asked, what is, here we go, and I don't know if we're going to get like breaking news here, but what for Kirby is a successful season for football?
Yeah, everybody likes to put numbers out there. As an athletics director, I will never do that with a coach or with a program. You want to see continuous improvement. But here's what I'll say about this year's Texas Tech football team. We are going in the right direction. The job that Joey McGuire and his staff continue to do is tremendous. When you look at the recruiting success, when you look at the level of young men and their talent that he's bringing to Texas Tech, it is going to happen. You know, nobody will shy away from last year. We had high expectations and aspirations, and there were some disappointments. I was extremely proud of the way that our team finished the season. I think in Joey's 2 years of leading us, we're 8-2 in the month of November. This program is going in the right direction. And is it all going to come into alignment and things are going to hit its stride this season? That is what these young men are working hard for. It's going to happen. I could not be more confident of that.
Well, to me, there's some breaking news there because I think in Kirby's tenure as athletics director, he's never been able to say that. I don't think he could say that during the Tuberville administration. I don't think, of which he inherited him. I don't think that he could say that in the Kingsbury administration, of which everybody signed off on Cliff Kingsbury, just like everybody signed off on Billy Gillespie. And I think everybody wanted it as much for Cliff as he wanted it and as Kirby wanted it, and everybody was equally disappointed that it didn't work out. And I don't think he could ever say that in the Matt Wells administration, as much as he wanted to, because Matt Wells was his hand-picked guy. I mean, it was a committee of one. And I think we were all shocked going, let me Google this guy. Matt Wells? I mean, nice fella. But, I mean, he could be prickly at times. He appreciated the thing I always appreciated about Matt Wells is he appreciated a good question. Now, he didn't appreciate a stupid question or a dumb question, or he would ask, if somebody made a statement, he would ask if there's a question there. I mean, he still kind of had a little cockiness to him. He still thought he was the starting quarterback from time to time, which is fine, you know. He was the starting quarterback with a smoking hot cheerleader wife, okay, and still was, and he still had kind of an air about him, which was okay. It's okay because if you're going to have that job, but here's the deal: Joey McGuire, you kind of feel like, man, he's your buddy, he's your guy, he's your man, he's going to lead you to the promised land, and I think that to a person, if you were to stop 1,000 cars here at 6th and Avenue O and say, hey, is the Tech football program headed in the right direction? I'd be shocked if you had more than 10% that said no.
We used to do I used to do on my Twitter account a job approval Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that last Matt Wells era was not. They didn't approve of him, but I stopped doing it because in the Joey era it was 100% every week. And it's like, well, this is everybody approves of Tim.
But have you ever heard
Joey McGuire?
Have you ever really heard Kirby with that kind of enthusiasm? And I appreciate the fact that he's never going to give a number for a coach, and that's the proper thing to do. That's the right way to do it.
Right. Yeah, you can't say 8 wins and then because then
if you got 7, then you're screwed, right?
You're pulling those up at the end of the year.
But I think that I think just the elevation of his voice. I think I think he feels like, hey, we got a winner here, and I think we all feel like, hey, we got a winner here, and let's face it. Remember, prior to 2 years ago, you hadn't been over 500 in the Big 12 since Mike Leach's last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you've done it twice.
So I do think we're building. What you would really like to see, the next step for this team. Sure, it's going to be 9-10 wins in a regular year, but the true next step is for them to stop giving us this number of November, December of 8-2, and hearing about, hey, let's get off to a good start, because this year you've got 5 of your first 7 games at home, and you're going to go, man, if we're not 6-1, we're going to be disappointed, right?
Yes. Yeah, you got to start 6-1. You have to start 5-2. You would love to start 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to start fast. And I wouldn't say Washington State's a must-win game, but to complete all your goals and to truly move forward, I think Washington State is a must-win game.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a bowl game that's not in the Metroplex, okay, and the only game that you want to play in the Metroplex is the Cotton Bowl.
Right.
That's the only game that you want to play in the Metroplex in terms of bowl season. You don't want to play in the, whatever bowl is being hosted at SMU or whatever bowl is being hosted at TCU or whatever bowl is being hosted at Jerry's Place other than the Cotton Bowl. That's the one that you want.
Yeah, you want to be in Orlando. You want to be at the Alamo Bowl. Or you want to be hosting round 1, right, of the playoff.
Sure.
Of course, the president of the CFP decision makers, whatever it is, said something to the effect of there's a criteria to be selected as a host, and it didn't seem like a meritocracy there. It didn't seem like the best teams will host. It was ticket sales, opportunity, hotels, city, all that kind of stuff.
It takes a complete package.
Yeah.
And airport and all those kinds of things.
But I feel like the top 6 seeds or whatever should host regardless. If you earn it, you earn it.
Life's not always fair, Rob.
Sure.
Life's tough. Get a helmet. Okay?
Yeah.
Remember, I've not given you my Heinz rules of life. I'm not totally going to bore you with all of them yet, but rule number 1 is follow the money. Wherever they can make the most is where they'll be. Okay? Hopefully that's here. Hopefully we earn it too.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3, presented today by someone not named Jamie, is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Yeah, I'll let you fix it. I'll let you
Jamie's
fix it. I wasn't gonna...
question of the day, yeah.
Right. Sometimes we stumble on this, but I'll let you fix it. You're good.
Slur
right.
words a little bit.
Gentlemen, yesterday we talked about Super Bowl games for the Texas Tech football season on the upcoming schedule, who we thought Texas Tech Super Bowl was and who we thought would be the opponent would see Texas Tech as their Super Bowl.
Sure.
Today we're going to look at this a little bit differently, and now we're talking about confidence levels. And before you immediately just jump out to, I am most confident that we will beat Abilene Christian or North Texas, depending on how the case may be. I am going to limit this to Big 12 games only.
Okay.
If you don't feel confident about Abilene Christian or North Texas, you should just go ahead and go someplace else for a while, because that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about Big 12 games. What on the Big 12 schedule for this year's Texas Tech football team? What game are you most confident that you could pick the score for in a victory for the Red Raiders? And on the flip side, which team is looking at you on their schedule and has the most confidence in beating you?
Ah, there you go. Rob, you want to go first?
Yeah. I was ready to answer until that second part.
Well, I can't make it all the way easy.
I want to say Arizona State would be my most confident. Cincinnati would be the second most confident. I think the Cincinnati game might be easier to guess the score, because you could blow out Arizona State or have a close game. I don't know. I think that
I'm
Cincinnati
not asking
game,
you to pick a score. I'm just asking you that you feel like I can pick a score for this game.
Yeah, I would lean to Cincinnati there. Otherwise, Oklahoma State, I guess, would be the most confident team thinking they could beat you. They have, quite frankly, owned you in the last decade plus.
It used to be where if you were playing them here, we won, and if you were playing them there, they won.
Used to be. I would like to get back to that.
Yeah.
I would like to just beating them. Period is where I would like to get.
But I don't think I don't think you'd be the most confident win on anybody's Big 12 schedule. Because Oklahoma State also has to play Utah, Kansas State, who I would say probably would beat you on the confidence scale. Sorry, going the wrong direction there. They also play Arizona State and BYU and Baylor, who would beat you on the confidence scale,
okay,
and Colorado, frankly.
The answer to your question is what?
Cincinnati, Oklahoma State.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Arizona schools. I think you're most confident in beating Arizona State. Okay? That's a home game. Obviously. That's your first Big 12 home game, September 21st. We don't have a start time on that yet. And I think the team that's going to be most confident in beating you, because they're going to puff up their chests, they're going to, we're the Pac-12. We're the University of Arizona. We're going to probably hear a lot of that. You're coming to Tucson. You're coming to our house, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say Arizona. Arizona's, because I think Oklahoma State would say, Mike Gundy would say, hey, they've beaten us before.
Confidence is a funny thing. And as we sit here today, I think I'm in agreement with Chuck on with Arizona State. As the most confident I am that I could look at that and go, that's a win. You could write your score in for that one. Arizona State's not a good football team. Granted, you're going and you're playing it at home, so they're coming here and all of that goes with it. But if they get on a roll, and I'm not saying that it's justified, mind you, but if they were on a roll before you have the Red Raiders rolling into TCU, into Fort Worth, with all the trash talk that has happened between the two universities on social media, that they may be chalking that up as a win already because they are playing at home. Now, that doesn't mean it will be, mind you. But all of that factors into where I think that could go.
So you're going to say Arizona State.
For Tech being the win where we could write in the score and TCU having the most confidence they could beat us.
Okay. They're really confident of one thing. They're confident that their fans are going to go out and buy those seats and sit in that aluminum frying pan that they've got there in Fort Worth. Man, that place is... The stadium's... It's steep, and it's very reflective there.
It is very reflective.
Yeah. It's very reflective there. And it's... I don't know. It's not a comfortable stadium. It's not a comfortable stadium. I mean, I've been there. It's okay. It's not great. It's kind of like Waco. It's okay. It's not great.
It's no Jones Stadium.
Well, I mean, look, we've got our challenges too. I mean, we
have a beautiful new south end zone. There's nothing wrong with Jones Stadium.
We have our challenges.
We just fixed all of our challenges.
I'm really curious what the north end zone video boards are what kind of resolution we're going to have, and the renovation of Raidertron 5000 on the north end. We got a bigger screen over there.
Shouldn't we be upgrading the 5,000 to a 6,000 now? I mean, for the amount of upgrades that they've done.
It's a renovated Raidertron 5000. And he's now offspringing, to the south end zone, in the upper deck. The one thing, not to complain, just an observation, okay?
Sure.
With regard to the double T, because it's a renovated double T, right? It's a brand new, big, giant, on steroids, flat double T, okay?
Yeah. Not renovated, brand new, yeah.
Yeah, you all got what you wanted. I mean, you wanted the double T, which I'm a big fan of the double T scoreboard. Unique, it's different, it's us. It's not beveled, okay, for all you flat earthers out there.
Sure.
You're going to
give us the butt.
The butt is, I wish they had the scroll across the top like they did back in the day in the yellow lights, where you'd see the self-tactilization or things along those lines. The little kind of the words,
the flu shot with the syringe coming across, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Lawrence Flugents, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
flu shot.
Yeah, all those things. I wish they could have done that. I wish they could have been able to do that, but
I think they could have. They decided to get out of the 80s.
I know, but you could have had an updated. But again, it would have required an additional person probably to man that and all those kinds of things. But I'm grateful for what we've got. Sometimes you just have to be grateful for what you have, right? Grateful for the Double T scoreboard coming back in the version that it's coming back in. Okay.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Chuck Heinz. That's who I am. With Rob Breaux and Jeff McGuire. That's who we are this morning here on the Morning Drive. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. We've had good classroom participation today. If you're heading out on vacation today, you want to share, you can. If you're out and having to get back to the grind on Monday and want to share, you can. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. Regarding neutral site games in DFW/Houston, don't forget the large recruiting beds out there and importance of them being able to see you in person, opposed to the alumni base out there. At least that's what Cliff would always tell us with doing the spring game at the Star. Well, how successful was that? Not very. Plus, I think you want to get them on your campus and get them to see what you have at your place. And the other thing, too, let's face it, at the end of the day now, it doesn't make a rat's damn bit of difference because for some of these guys, and I think more so basketball than football, it's all about how much you're going to pay them. And can you have a quality team around you?
Yeah, but if you run into somebody in Dallas just at a game, it's not a official or unofficial. It's just at a game.
It's a bump, right?
You might throw some tickets on the street and have somebody find them.
Did you amplify your point about Texas Tech playing a game at DFW using two pro sports examples? ? And then this advice to me, do better. Okay, I'll try. I'm with Chuck. I want a basketball non-conference game in Lubbock that's worth a damn. Tired of always playing the little sisters and brothers of the blind, deaf, and poor.
I've got a surprise. You can still do that.
Two things are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
you don't have to play all of your big games at a neutral site.
Yeah.
You can also take a neutral site game and have it be a big game while having good games here. They are not mutually exclusive.
Bullfighter, and usually he's not on my side. He's more of a keeping track of all the stupid stuff I say and then documenting it. He says this, I want this documented, Bullfighter. I'm with Chuck, and I don't even like basketball.
I will say I will be more upset if the schedule is released and there's not a Power 5 game in Lubbock. I would be more upset then.
Okay.
But now I'm reserving my judgment.
And now I have a question for you. With this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, and then I have a question for you.
Okay.
The thing that always gets me on the announcement of the verdict is the facial reaction of Robert Kardashian. In my opinion, it was pure disbelief that OJ just got away with murder. I agree. Robert Kardashian's face is one of shock. Remember, he's the guy that allegedly carried the bloody clothes and got rid of them. Now, did OJ do it?
Well, you can read his book, If I Did It, and find out how he would do it if he did it.
Okay.
But yes, I would assume that he did it, yeah.
My belief is OJ's son did it.
Oh.
His oldest son, Jason. That's my belief.
And then he covered it up?
Yes. Yes. I think OJ eventually got to the scene that night. Okay. And by the way, I discovered this past weekend. There's a new documentary from the TMZ guy on O.J. Simpson. Apparently, he was the guy, the main guy on TMZ.
Sure.
Can't remember his name. Doesn't matter. But he apparently was the investigative reporter for the NBC affiliate in Los Angeles during the O.J. Simpson trial. And he kind of did a retrospect of it. And he talked about one night he went back to Nicole Brown Simpson's house. This is after I think OJ had been released from jail from Vegas, and there was a limousine in front of them because this is way after the murders, and there was a figure that got out of it, and they were like thinking that OJ went back to the scene of the crime. This is years later, and he just happened to come up upon him. Huh. And this is before they had, I guess they didn't have cell phone cameras or video. Anyway, the bottom line was he thought it was really, really bizarre. But anyway, it's good. It's a good watch if you like that. But I believe that he knew who did it. I don't believe that OJ had the capability of doing it. Okay? I don't think he did. All right, we need to get to this. That's old news. Who wore it better? Okay? We've been doing this. Can we first have a recap, a final total of who wore it better for number 5? This is this is going to be Michael Crabtree, Patrick Mahomes, Brian Klein, and Jonathan Gray.
The winner by 57.3% of the vote, Michael Crabtree. Patrick Mahomes comes in at 39.3%. Brian Klein had 2%, and Justin Gray brings up the last place with 1.3% of the vote.
What was Pat's again?
39.3%.
Is that higher than you thought it'd be?
No, that's pretty much exactly what I thought it would be.
Okay.
It's basically 60-40.
60-40. Okay. All right, so now we get to, and this is our second to last number. We only have 3 choices on this one. Previously, we had 4. I guess there weren't that many good number 25s.
It depends on how the numbers go.
So if you wore 25 for a living at Texas Tech, I'm sorry about you if your name is not mentioned. Baron Batch, Davide Moretti, Hunter Hargrove. Your chance to go to Double T97.3's Twitter account at Double T97.3 right now to vote. Who wore it best of the 25s?
This one's a tough one. This might be the toughest one. Hargrove, Big 12 Player of the Year. A lot of people love Moretti. Toughest to predict. Not toughest to vote for. I would vote for Hargrove. I think Moretti will win.
Jeff?
I would be voting for Davide Moretti here. He was such a massive weapon for that team, and the year that he was first gone, you really got to see how good of a player he was, because you kept saying, man, if only Davide was on this team, how much different it would be. And he wasn't your go-to guy when it came to a point when you're going back and forth, but at the end of the game, to seal it, the quote-unquote closer of that basketball team was Davide Moretti. So I would give it to Davide, but it's close between him and Hunter Hargrove for me.
You want to take a wild stab at who he chose Texas Tech over?
Davide Moretti?
Yeah.
Illinois?
Nope. It was a Big Ten school.
Michigan?
Nope. Come on.
Indiana?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. He also chose Texas Tech over a new Big 12 school. You want to take a guess?
A new Big 12 school, Arizona?
No.
Colorado?
No.
Arizona State?
No. You got one left.
Utah?
Yes.
BYU. Oh, wait, no.
And,
they've been here for a while now.
And he also chose Texas Tech over a school that has won 3 national championships in basketball in recent years, including the defending champion.
UConn?
Yeah. There you go. This from the Yates. So you're going to say Hunter Hargrove? No, you said Davide.
I said Davide.
Rob said Hunter, and I'm going to say Davide Moretti. I mean, you don't get to a Final Four without Davide Moretti. Unfortunately, you might have won a national championship if they'd have made the right call.
Did he shoot 50% from 3 in Big 12 play as a freshman? Wasn't it something crazy like that?
It was something insane like that, yeah.
All right, it's 8:25 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that. The mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. Who wore it best? Number 25. You can vote right now at Double T97.3 on X. Baron Batch, Davide Moretti, Hunter Hargrove. Who you want?
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.